What's good, you two? I just wanted to make another hot topic for you guys today. It's going to be about Paul George. He said he don't know if he should return or he shouldn't return. I told a lot of people in the beginning of the season, even without Paul George, I felt that the Indiana Pacers could make the playoffs. Right now, they're on a 7 game winning streak. Their record is 30 and 34 with 18 games left, 15 to 18 games left. They still can win enough games to go above 500. They can finish. I'm predicting they can finish. The best record they can finish is 43 and 39. Same thing the Charlotte Hornets did. They struggled in the beginning of the season, but they ended the season above 500. And I think the Indiana Pacers could actually finish 43 and 39 at the end of the season and finish at the 6th seed. I live in Milwaukee. And I feel like the Bucks, they just been struggling and they just struggle on offense, but they're a good defensive team. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the Bucks, if they can win 10 out of the last 18 games to finish at 30, 44 wins. If they can win 44 games, they pretty much a lock for the 6th seed. Now Indiana just beat the Bucks, so now they just 3 games above the Bucks. Then they play the Bucks again, so they actually can be 2 games behind the Bucks. So the Bucks go on a losing streak like they've been doing. Indiana could catch them at that 6th seed, which means that Indiana can play Washington or Toronto or Chicago, and all them teams has been having problems at the end of the season. Washington been struggling, Chicago been injured, and Toronto just been struggling offensively and defensive, especially defensively. They just been getting torched by everybody. So if one of them teams can find that identity and get to close out the season with the 3rd seed, then it'd be a problem fighting Indiana because Indiana plays good offense now, and they always play good defense. They actually is very, very good offensively. I watched a couple games. They actually moving the ball. They has a lot of floor spacing with David West, Luis Scola. They got more floor spacing. C.J. Watson. They got Chris Copeland, George Hill, all these 3-point C.J. Miles, all these 3-point shooters to knock down the open three. Then they got people that can score on the inside, David West, Luis Scola, Roy Hibbert. So they actually got a well-balanced team, and they actually got a good bench with Rodney Stuckey and Chris Copeland and Luis Scola and them coming off the bench. So I'm liking this team right now. I picked them to make the playoffs even when Paul George went down because I like their depth, I like their coaching, and I like their defense. I just didn't like their offense. But in the East, you only gotta do one or the other to make the playoffs. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. They just a good defensive team, and they already gonna make the playoffs in the East. So you don't have to be good at everything in the East. The Washington Wizards horrible, mediocre on offense, but they good on defense. And look at their record. You don't have to be that good at both things in the East. But if you want to win a championship, you gotta do it offensively and defensively. That's why Cleveland and Atlanta and Chicago are the best teams in the East right now. And Chicago's stats might lie to you. They just hasn't been healthy. If Chicago was healthy, they'd be a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense if they was healthy the whole year. So they stats are a little misleading because they haven't been healthy all year. But Indiana, I think Paul George should come back because they're gonna need him in the playoff. Just to say if they go against, say if they fall to the eighth seed, they might need him to lock up Kyle Korver. They might need him to lock up LeBron James. They might need him to lock up those type of players like DeMar DeRozan or something like that. They gonna need him to stay as the best premier defender, but now it's probably Kawhi Leonard. But they gonna need Paul George just for his defense. Paul George always been inconsistent offensively, struggling with his jump shot, struggling with his shot selection, but he still scores enough to win you games, and he can still knock down clutch shots, and he's not afraid of the big moment. And that's what they're going to need in the fourth quarter is a guy that can get to the free throw line, a guy that can take a shot when the shot clock is low with 7 seconds on the clock to knock down a mid range, to knock down a three, because Paul George can shoot from anywhere. And Paul George actually weighs 235. He get put on more weight, so he's gonna be able to bang with LeBron better and the bigger small forwards because he put on more weight. He already was big enough to me, but he put on more weight. So Paul George is going to be bigger, stronger, and he been practicing a whole lot. So hopefully he can just get 12 games. Hopefully they can bring him back late March. So that way he can get at least 10, 12 games to get back in shape, get back to the pace of the game. And by the playoffs, you get a little more rest, get a little more practices, and be able to get ready for the first seed, that first round matchup. And I think Indiana, like I said when I made the video about Indiana before, I think they can do an upset, even if they go against Atlanta. I like this team offensively and defensively, and I think they can take away a lot of these teams. What they go to plays is, I think how they built and how they versatile with their bench. I think they can do a lot of things defensively and offensively, and they love to exploit the mismatches on teams. So I think this team got a lot of pieces. I think they can make a run at the playoffs. I don't think they can win a championship, but I think they'll be a team that, like OKC, that you really wouldn't want to play because they good offensively and defensively, and they can beat you down a lot. So I like to see Indiana, especially with Paul George back. I love to see what they'll do in the playoffs. And I think they can be a team that can upset. So let me know what you guys think. Should Paul George return? Mess up the chemistry? Should he just sit out the rest of the season? Should he just come back and see what happens? If he ain't good enough, he just sit out the rest of the season. Or should he just come back and play his hardest and help them win a series or help them compete in the playoffs so they can build some chemistry with Paul George in the season and get used to him being back in the lineup? I don't know. I just think Paul George should come back, especially get a couple games under his belt and get ready for the playoffs and get some more practices in before he come back so he can get back to his old form at a slow pace. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to check out my older video. If you like this video, you like my older video, subscribe. And always, thanks for the view and thanks for watching.